Funerals are a waste. That's right, funerals can be a waste, a great waste of time, a great waste of money, and a great waste of resources. Now, I'm not saying don't honor your loved one. I'm just saying that over the years, I've been in this industry from my own experience, from working with thousands of families and also with working with many funeral professionals. I've seen where many people have just wasted time, money, resources. And with this video, I want to share with you some of those ways so you can avoid wasting. Now, one of the first things I'm going to mention is something you already might have dealt with, but it's the funeral home, and it's choosing a funeral home. Now, usually people feel a little bit rushed in order to make a decision. However, I want to put you at a little bit of ease. You can take a little bit of time to choose your funeral home. It's not like you need to do it instantaneously. And what most people do is they kind of look through and they grab the first thing they can get that can answer the phone, then they go with them. However, well, one thing, when you choose a funeral home, you definitely want to get one that is close by because you figure you're going to have to make at least a couple of trips to the funeral home. But even if you have to get one that's close by, usually you have still a choice of maybe 2 or 3 funeral homes that you can choose from. So what you should do is call each of them up, because what they do is they offer different services. Each of them offer a slightly different service, and also they cost a little bit differently as well too, because they cater to different kinds of clientele. So call them up, speak to them on the phone, find out the ones you're comfortable with, and then make your decision from there so that you're not wasting time as well as money with going with a wrong funeral home that you're not pleased with in the end. So choosing the right funeral home is the first thing. After that, I'm going to actually still stick with the funeral home because many people are aware that with a funeral home, you can actually do pre-arrangements. So that means you go in before someone has actually passed away. So it could be for a loved one that you know that's up there in age, or it could even be for yourself. You go there and you actually make the arrangements for what you want the services to look like. So that way the person that actually is going to be celebrated, their life's going to be celebrated, has some say or input into what's going to be happening during that time of that celebration service. Now this does a couple of things. For one, it can save some money because you can put some money towards it from the beginning, so that way you're not paying the whole thing at the end, or the family isn't not paying the whole thing at the end. So money can definitely be put towards the funeral services from beforehand. But I would say even more importantly, or at least equally importantly, but it's very important, I like it that the family actually is not left guessing what are we going to do for the services, because it's already been clearly indicated, identified by the person that prearranged their services. So it actually saves so much time for the family that remains. And actually, during time of a funeral, there's already so many other thoughts and emotions going on. By having this one less thing or one major thing off their plate, it just does so much for the family. All right, so prearrangement is the second thing that most funeral homes do offer that. So even as you're calling to figure out which funeral home that you want to use, think about speaking to them for prearrangements for maybe yourself, and hopefully it's not until many, many years down the road, because I know a lot of times we don't want to think about funerals, but eventually we're all going to expire. We're going to leave this earth, so we should be preparing for it. It just makes the loved ones that are remaining, their life so much easier, okay? So third, I'm going to go with the cemetery. Choosing the cemetery. And yes, we can do kind of like the funeral home. There's multiple cemeteries you can choose from with different types of burial places that you can have the final remains at. However, even within the cemetery that you may choose, usually there's different areas or sections for different purposes, and they might be even priced differently as well too. So there may be a section that is going to be only strictly for like flat monuments, or a flat marker for the grave. Other sections might allow for like a full upright headstone. And depending on cemetery, they may charge like drastically different. So when you go to a cemetery, realize that there are options even within the cemetery that you go to, of different places you can go, and figure out how you can pick the one that's going to be right for you, and don't waste money in choosing some place that you don't have to pay for if you're not going to put that kind of a marker or a monument there. Now, similarly for number 4 to the funeral home where you could do pre-arrangements, with the cemeteries, it's actually very similar as well too, that you can actually pre-purchase the plot. And basically it's real estate. So you can buy this plot or this piece of land from beforehand, because the price of real estate usually just goes up and up. So imagine being able to buy the plot today or years before, and then down the road when it may cost double, it may cost significantly more, but you've already paid for it from before. So this is another way that you can actually save money and not waste money by buying a plot just because usually they charge the most when you actually purchase it and you have to use it right away. So if you can purchase a plot in advance, you can save quite a bit of money right there. All right, so that was number 4. Now, number 5, I'm going to go with something that I actually didn't realize, but was so beneficial for myself when my dad made his transition a couple of years ago now. I was part of a group, and within our group, we had an estate attorney. And just because he was in this group that I'm part of, and he's a friend, and he was helping me out, he actually helped me with his services. And I didn't want to at first pay for an estate attorney. I didn't think it was beneficial. However, I'm here to tell you that this was one of the best things that I can say that I did kind of put money towards in reference to getting an estate attorney, because not only did he give me peace of mind because he kind of directed me in certain things to do on the legal aspect in regards to taxes and dealing with the will, the trust, the whole estate, but he was able to direct me, and then he also saved me money even in regards to the probate and even the transfer of different things. So having an estate attorney, I know it may seem like you're going to spend more to get an estate attorney, but in the long run, I'm telling you, it was really so very worth it to have an estate attorney. So with that, I'm going to say one of the best ways is to have a referral from someone else. Like if you know someone that worked with an estate attorney, I would definitely look to use them or find out some information from them. But if you don't know anyone, then you're going to look online and do the same thing like with a funeral home. You're going to call them up, ask them some questions, see the ones you feel comfortable with, and then work with them. Now, also with an estate attorney, they are there during the time of the funeral, but a lot of their work or how they're going to help you is going to be after the funeral. So you're not that pressed for time to do it immediately right then, but just realize you can make a choice of whichever one you feel comfortable with that you're going to work with. And the ones that I worked with was fantastic. So I highly recommend having an estate attorney. So that's number 5. All right, number 6 is going to be something that we're familiar with in our business, because many people we've seen that have looked to save money, but they end up wasting money. And that was for those families that want to do their own programs. So they look online and they see companies that will sell them a nice template for them to design their own program. Now, the templates are beautiful. However, what the families don't realize that it kind of takes a lot of work to get to the point to look as beautiful as they show you the sample for. And oftentimes, these companies don't really provide that much support. So the family, they purchase template, but then they're left by themselves to figure it out and get it to look just right. And we've seen a lot of families come to us with templates that they purchased, they pay for it already, looking to save money, but then they come to us and then they have to have it redesigned because they spent hours and hours working with it and it just didn't look right, so they wasted time. And then we have to start from scratch to mimic the template, and they end up paying for design and printing again, and it just ends up wasting money. So sometimes things that we do can end up wasting, if we don't consider it and really think it through, can end up wasting time as well as even more money down the road. All right, so that's number 6. And number 7, I'm going to say, also in regards to like the memorial items that you might have for a funeral service, you can have programs and prayer cards and things like that. And but there are now digital options that are available for you. So what that does is, a lot of times when families are here, they are attempting to figure out exactly how many people are going to be coming to the service. So, how many people do I have to buy programs or get prayer cards for? And you're never exactly right. And usually families don't want to be too less, because that would leave guests that come there without a program. So they tend to be over. And that means that they've wasted money to purchase these products, and then they've also wasted resources. So now by doing something digital, how we do it is that the guests can use their smartphone when they come in, and they can sign a register book. So instead of having a physical register book where they have to sign with a pen and paper, they just use their phone and they can sign the register book. And it actually saves a lot of time too, because usually there's like a little backlog or just a wait at the sign and register book. So now when they use their phone, it actually eliminates that time. And then from the register book, they actually can get a digital copy of the funeral program. So you don't need to guess or how many people will be there, because on the digital platform, you always have just the right number of items available. If there's 100 people, if there's 500 people, it's right on their phones, and you get a digital copy of the funeral program. And then it also can be a digital thank you card or thank you notices sent to every guest that comes like a day or so afterwards as well too. So what does that do? That saves us from printing thank you cards. It saves us from the time of addressing each thank you card in envelope and putting postage on there, and then also the cost of postage as well too. And also it gets delivered within a matter of moments, I'll say, because it's all digital. So there's digital options that's available that can really save, as opposed to wasting in your time, the resources, as well as money. So these are just 7. I'll go through them again. First is choosing the funeral home and realizing that they offer different services. So you want to give them a call first. Secondly is doing pre-arrangements, getting in conversation with them before you actually need their services and putting some money down, organizing it so the family has less to deal with once it is time for the funeral service. Then went to the cemetery, realizing that there's different sections in the cemetery and there's different costs associated with that too. So find one that's appropriate for what you plan to do afterwards. Then also pre-purchasing a plot, because the real estate prices tend to go up. So you can get it today and use it hopefully many years from now. And then we went with the estate attorney. When sometimes we think that we don't want to make this extra expense. However, this expense can actually save us a great deal of time and then save us money from some things we just didn't even know to do. Then the templates, where we're looking to spend something to kind of do it ourselves. And some people can do it, but there's lots of people that it's an unnecessary thing when there's so many other things to think about during time of funeral with the templates. And just maybe get a professional from the start, and it'll end up costing less, it'll be done in less time, and it'll actually even look better as well too. And then number 7 was looking for digital options at this stage now too, which can just be very, very cost effective and actually quick, and give you even more flexibility of what you can do with this. Those are the 7. And we want to just share some information with you. Like I said, it was from the experience that I've had personally, from our working with thousands of families over the last over 20 years now, and then also working with the funeral professionals that we've been working with. And we want to keep doing all these videos to give you more tips and help you during this time. So everything that we do, we're looking to not just share from our experience, but also share from the Word of God, the Bible, which is it's what I live by, and it just gives us so much valuable information and truths that we can go and live our lives by. And really, this time that we're going through with the loss of a loved one, there's really no exception. We can still gain valuable insight from the Bible, even during this time as well too. So we were talking about waste, and it's interesting too, because I can think from the Word of God that God doesn't waste, as well as His Son, Jesus, manifest in the flesh, didn't waste. One story that comes to mind with this was from the book of John, when He fed over 5,000 people with just some fish and some loaves of bread, not too many. And even though it was a miracle, and this was a miraculous event, after all they were fed, He instructed them to actually gather up what was left over and to put them into baskets. So it shows us what? It shows us that even Jesus didn't want to waste. Even though He was able to cause a miracle to occur where they had more than enough, he didn't want to waste what was there. So because he doesn't want to waste, that should be even a sign for us that we also shouldn't want to waste what we have in life, what we've been blessed with in life as well too. Now, not only that, but God, another example I can think of from the Word of God, that he doesn't waste, even though he created all of us. It says that it's his will that all of us should be saved and for none of us to perish. So he doesn't even want to waste even man. Even in the state that we're in, he didn't want to waste. He wants all of us to be saved. And he created a solution for all of us to be saved. So, I'm just thinking he could be like, okay, well, I have a lot of them that's going to be saved. But it's not even that he wants a lot. He wants all to be saved, and he created a solution for all of us. So these are just a couple examples I'm going to share with you, even from the Word, just tying into how we should be and not waste, even in any area, but just specifically I'm talking about the funerals, because God doesn't waste. So thank you for watching this video. We're going to be sharing many more videos with you. We're always going to tie some principle in the Word of God into as well too. And we're going to have some journeys where we're going to be able to have some dialogue and possibly even maybe sometimes come together as well. So with these videos, you no longer will have to be going through grief alone, because we can be growing through grief together.